In this video, I will share with you how you can find customer metrics within the first 3 minutes on any sales call. My name is Jens Edgren. I'm the author of this book. It's called The New MEDDPICC, Sell More Faster. I'm a master MEDDICC trainer. Anyhow, when you go to sales training, everybody is telling you this stuff is easy and simple and will work for you, right? But when you come home to reality, things are not as easy as in the classroom or the online training. And I'm here to share with you how you can find customer metrics within the first 3 minutes of any sales call. So, hey, it's Monday morning, it's 9 o'clock, and you have your first meeting with a potential customer. Of course, you want to find the pain, the compelling event, you want to find the champion, you want to find the economic buyer, right? You want to find competitive options, and you want to find decision criteria, and you want to find the decision process. And of course, the economic buyer. That's a whole lot of information you want to find. But hey, the one thing that you need to know is that the organization that you are meeting, the government or the private or the noted company, the only reason why they invest money in your services or products is they want to make money, they want to save money, or they want to avoid risks directly or indirectly. And it means that you got to know where they're heading and how the stuff that you sell will help them reach their goals. So that's why the metrics is about to understand where are they heading. Now, there are two things you got to know. First thing, if you ask them what are the goal that you want to reach, they will tell you something that's on top of their mind. And they will tell you something that sounds reasonable to you. That's not the truth. Because every customer has a filter, and they know if they tell you stuff, you will use that against them. It means selling, right? So you take information you get, and then you turn it around, and then you try to convince someone. Don't do that stuff, right? But what we can do is the following, very simple. So you could start by saying something like, hey, I guess you have a reason for talking to me today. Most likely it's connected to your goals or interest. Would I be asking too much if you share some of that information with me? You ask very politely to get some piece of information, to get something to work with. I would say 90% of the people you talk to will tell you what they're looking for, all right? Now you have a hint. The next thing we need to do is we need to add something. And here's the simple thing you can do. Maybe you never thought about it, but you can ask them to go crazy just a little bit. So now, what would be some really unachievable, crazy metrics that you haven't thought about? Things like doubling your revenue or shortening lead time by 50%. I know these metrics sounds off the charts, and most likely they are. But what would happen if you rethought your goals and you made them a little bit more challenging? What would be the goals you would then set for you and your organization? Now, what's going to happen now is the customer most likely will start to laugh. And they will start to imagine goals they haven't thought about. In this new area where you are able to discuss things that are off the charts and they haven't thought about yet, it's not on their PowerPoints, even that, you can start to discuss things that are outside what they already thought about. So the internet world today, it's very easy for any customer, you, me, and everybody else to just go online, see what's out there, right? And we make a list of things we want to buy, and we go to any vendor and say, hey, can we buy this stuff from you? But as a seller, you want to also influence their metrics in a positive way. Most customers out there, they don't have a really clear idea about metrics. So sometimes when you ask them, hey, what are your metrics? They just go blind, or they will just tell you something that sounds great but has no really meaning to them. So you could also help your customer by sharing metrics from other customers you work with. So some of my other customers has some of these metrics. Are they at least remotely relevant to you? So either you ask for metrics or you introduce other people's metrics, and then you could ask them to make them almost inachievable. Now, why would you like to do that? Well, you see, here's the trick in selling and persuasion. If you can get anyone else to start imagining something different in the future state, imagine something they never thought about, it creates an emotion, and that emotion will connect you on a deeper level. The metrics that we need to talk about are very much connected to them, their role. If they're CIO, it's uptime, it's cyber threat resilience. If it's a CSO, Chief Sales Officer, it's about revenue, budget, margin, number of sales calls. If it's a CEO, most likely it's about profit margins, growth rate, cost control, revenue growth, stuff like market share, stuff like that. And if you buy my book, the new MEDDPICC, Sell More Faster, you will get at least 33 different questions related to the metrics, right? But the metrics we are after are the ones that matter to the person you talk to, okay? And if you can get those down on a piece of paper the first 3 minutes, you are good to go, right? That's why I want you to spend time directly in your sales call shortly after your presentation, asking simple questions like, I guess you have a reason for talking with me here today. I have one idea. How can we support you making your job easier and better? And what are the metrics, measurables that you will know is a proof of our joint success? Okay, so let me make your world a little bit more complex, because whoever you talk to will be a part of a larger organization, unless it's a one-man band. But even then, there might be a wife or a spouse or someone else there, right? But most likely you're selling to a larger organization than one person. So that means that this person is connected to an ecosystem, like my thumb here is connected to my hand, right? Now we can start to track. So what would happen if you reach your goals and metrics? Who else will be happy in your organization? And how would they be happy? So if you reach your goals, who would send you roses and champagne, right? And who would send that person roses and champagne? And who would send that person roses and champagne? So you want to track something we call the gain chain all the way up to the top. And guess what? That person up on the top is the economic buyer who would spend the money to get what they want. And in order to get what they want, they need to make other people successful. So I've been selling sales training to sales managers and CIOs for years. Now, the sales manager is my perfect customer because we are talking the same language, right? Sales techniques, account plans, cold calling, negotiation stuff, competitive analysis. We speak the same lingo, right? Now, here's the problem. They don't have any money for sales training. It's pretty crazy. They have to go to the CIO to get money for sales training. And last week I had a call with a sales manager who brought the CEO in on the call. And I asked the CEO, what are the metrics you like to achieve? And he talked about revenue growth. He talked about, creating a market share. But he also talked about selling the company to an investor. Wow, and that is a metric that the sales director would never even remotely think about unless they're a shareholder, of course. So just by having multiple people on the call will give you an opportunity to cover multiple sets of metrics. Okay, here's some final piece of advice, right? Now the metrics, let's say it's revenue increase or cost decrease or less risk for cyber attacks, whatever it is, that's going to pay your lunch. That's going to pay for buying from you. So if you have strong metrics, you're going to increase the value of your proposition. And just by asking about metrics, you're going to be different from, I would say, 8 out of 10 salespeople who are more likely to talk about their product and service and tell the customer how great they are, right? And maybe show some boring PowerPoints. If you start instantly, again, I'm going to repeat my first and best advice. Hey, I guess you have a reason for talking to me here today. And I guess your best guess is it's related to some kind of a measurable, some kind of a goals. would you be kind enough to share some of that information with me so I could direct our call towards something you really like to hear? And by focusing on metrics the first 3 to 5 minutes, you'll be good to go, because you're going to know straight away, what are the reasons why they talk to you and what could be the value you can bring to them and to their organization and to the boss. And if you can kind of unlock that game, it's like a computer game almost, there will be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and that's what the customer will use to pay for you, your services and your product. Again, here's my book. It's called the new MEDDPICC. It's also a version called the new MEDDICC. Sell More Faster. It's on Amazon. It's an audiobook on all the major audio platforms, and it's in our trainings as well. And here we have at least 33 different ways of asking for the metrics. With these words, I wish you the best of luck. And if you pull this trick off, I will send you roses and champagne myself.